All animals are created equal. Some are more equal than others. This is the theme around the next show in this series, which is, of course, the 2014 Boston Crusaders and their show, Animal Farm. Although they did take a slight bit of a deviation and they replaced animals with drum corps. And it actually says so in the show that all drum corps are created equal. Some are more equal than others. What are they talking about? Why is this show so controversial? Stay tuned and find out. So the story of 2014 Boston Crusaders Animal Farm actually dates all the way back to 2010 and actually had nothing to do with Boston Crusaders directly. And that was at a board of I think it was a board of directors meeting back in 2010. There was a presentation by a certain corps director, who I've commonly called he who shall not be named, and he still isn't going to get his name on this channel because I know he actually watches. That being said, anybody who's read the George Orwell book Animal Farm will know that the head pig was called Napoleon. So for the purposes of this video, we will refer to this he who shall not be named as Napoleon. So Napoleon made a presentation to the DCI board of directors. It was 66 or so pages long. And it was called the G7 proposal. And essentially the G7 represented the top 7 drum corps of the activity at that time, which were the Blue Devils, Carolina Crown, Santa Clara Vanguard, Bluecoats, Phantom Regiment, and, the Cadets. So, I'm missing somebody. Anyway, the top 7 corps at the time. And basically what the argument was in the 66-page slideshow essentially was that DCI was successful because of these corps, and because of these corps, they should get a bigger cut of the pie, so to speak. And as you could imagine, that pissed off a lot of other corps that think, hold on a second, people pay to come see us as well. And the Boston Crusaders were, of course, one of those corps. Fast forward to 2013. Boston Crusaders were doing a show called Rise, which I'll put a little bit here. Thought it was a great show. They were pretty consistently in around 8th, 9th place pretty much that year. 7th, 8th, 9th place, something like that. More or less, trending towards 7th place. So kind of equivalent to what they'd done in 2012 until DCI prelims. A key part of the show, as you saw in the video that I just played, was baby powder. They used baby powder to simulate smoke, and it hadn't been an issue all year up until Indianapolis when one of the G7 corps, specifically a G7 corps from, at that time, Pennsylvania, made a complaint.
Unsportsmanlike taunting, offense number 14.
And Boston Crusaders found themselves with a 1-point penalty. You'll find that baby powder also does feature in this show as well in 2014. So fast forward to 2014, Boston Crusaders are pretty annoyed. The G7's trying to take over DCI. They're trying to set up their own tour called the G7 Tour or whatever, and we now know it as the Tour of Champions. Anyway, fast forward to 2014, Boston's pretty pissed off, and the staff went to the corps members and said, right, we've got an option for you. We've got a pretty good drum corps this year. So we're going to give you 2 options. We're going to let you guys choose the show. You could choose one that's easy and will place well. Or you could choose the hard one that's going to piss off a lot of people and you probably won't place so well. They chose the latter, and that's what we're going to be watching today, which is, of course, Animal Farm. So Animal Farm was, for all intents and purposes, a protest show. That being said, I thought it was a really good show. I really enjoyed the show pretty much from top to bottom. So rather than me waffling on, why don't we just go ahead and watch the show, and I'll waffle on while we're watching it, shall we? But before we do that, if you missed the first part of this series, I will put it up here somewhere. And in addition to that, before we get to pressing play on the old start button, if you're not currently subscribed, it would really help us out a ton. And if you like what we're doing, of course. If you don't like what we're doing, don't bother. But if you like what we're doing and you're not currently subscribed, it would really help us out a ton if you'd press the subscribe button. It costs you absolutely nothing, but the more people that we get liking and subscribing, the reason why we're constantly asking you guys to do that is because when you press like and when you press subscribe, it means that YouTube is more likely to put our videos into other people's feeds that aren't currently liked or subscribed. So it helps the algorithm a ton. Costs you nothing, costs you hardly any but a second of your life, and we'd really appreciate it. Right, that's enough of me begging. Oh yeah, while you're down there, buy a t-shirt or something as well. We have a merch store, be cool. Anyway, enough of me waffling on. Let's go ahead and watch the show, shall we? Right, so the repertoire is, I'm going to just completely mug some names, so I do apologize. But the repertoire for Animal Farm was The Battle on the Ice from Alexander Nevsky by Sergei Prokofiev. I think I said that right. O Field and My Field, and Symphony No. 4 in D minor by Lev Nipper. Symphony No. 11, Movement 2 by Dmitri Shostakovich. Movement 4 by Georgy Ligeti, and then Concerto for Violin and Orchestra by Samuel Barber, and of course from Captain and Castile, Conquest, but not Conquest like you'd heard it before. So obviously the color guard is portraying the animals of Animal Farm. You'll notice that some have horse faces, some have bird faces, but you'll notice the ones that are really aggressive, that really tell the story of the show, of course, the pigs. Cool look for the corps that was with that uniform. I don't normally like dark uniforms like that. I love how you see the order of the horn line and the absolute chaos in the color guard. Oh, that's a bad place to drop a rifle. Such an aggressive horn book. Just love that driving bump, 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 bump. In case you were curious who you were watching. I don't think there's ever any doubt. Nobody could pull off a show this aggressive. Hammer and sickle there. Some are more equal than others. That's the thing you always have to keep in the back of your mind about this show. I imagine this must have been a pretty fun show for the Guard. Just so much attitude. A dystopian version of Old MacDonald. I mean, come on. This is just such a... I think this is one of my favorite Boston shows ever. I think it's one that's very often overlooked. The brass line's on it like, what, about a 50 yards or 40 yards spread there playing that run. I mean, come on. This is a good drum corps. I think the other thing as well that's often overlooked about this show is that it was actually a really hard show. The book is challenging. The visual book is challenging. Nice. Clowning on the horses. So the question I would ask, obviously the horses were in animal form, were kind of the aristocrats, if you will. So I think this is maybe them have a little bit of a go at them. I heard a little bit of squiffiness in the brass there. There are parts in this that are a bit squiffy, but again, it's a really difficult show. And this drill is no joke. Oh, listen to that brass sound. I think that is about the closest you'll get to a major key anywhere in this show. It's uncomfortable listening, and I kind of like that. That is a pissed off piggy right there. As a brass player, I have to say, watching $5,000 baritones and euphoniums being chucked 20 feet in the air gives me the willies. Am I the only one that heard bits of White Whale in there? Can't help but noticing the tuba hole. Often wonder why cores don't close up holes for finals. Lovely tone on that trumpet soloist. Oh, I remember. It was a tuba player that went down, I think, at semifinals, broke his leg or something like that. So I recall it was a gruesome injury as well. So these are the, hard to see, if I can get a still shot of it, I will, but these are the DCI flags with the communist logo on it. It was almost like the video crew was told not to get any close-ups of those flags for some reason. Maybe that's just a conspiracy theorist in me, but... Here we go, listen up now. Here it comes.
Are created equal. But some are more equal than others.
I'm a big fan of drop the bass when that worked there. And there's your baby powder. So yeah, so that's Animal Farm. I think that is a criminally underscored show. I genuinely do. I'm not normally one to buy into conspiracy theorists, but I do think that the judges may have had a hard time giving that show the number that it actually deserved. Was it super clean? No, it wasn't. But it was also a really, really difficult show. It was also really well performed overall. It had a few little iffy moments in there, but not enough to for that show. Here's the thing that'll blow your mind. That show didn't even break 90. How the hell did that show not even break 90? It just absolutely blows my mind. So anyway, 2014 Boston Crusaders, controversial because, they had the audacity to put the middle finger up to the establishment. Ironically enough, turns out they were right. So, right. And that will be the end of today's video. If you missed the previous in this series, again, go back and it's on the, I put a tag on it earlier in the video here today. Also, in the next video, we're going to be looking at 1988 Suncoast Sound. Here's a little bit of a flavor of that. And then to wrap up the series, we're going to again go back to 1988. And that last episode of this series is going to be a long one because we're going to be watching 3 different shows in that video. We're going to watch the top 3, and we're going to put 1988's controversy to bed once and for all. But that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Again, please hit the like and subscribe button if you like what we're doing. It really helps us out a ton. That's all the begging I'm going to do. The only other thing I'm going to ask you is to no matter what you're doing, when you're doing it, no matter how you're doing it, no matter where you're doing it, just when you're doing it, make sure that you march on. Ciao.